Hi, I'm John Kennedy, and I can't wait to show you my new product called Clearly Out to Lunch. The gimmick is designed so that you can stretch the band this way, but don't pull down like this or you may detach the band from the buckle. You need to customize the buckle so that it matches whatever note cards or business cards you're using. Now, I am using some business cards, and what I'm going to do is fold the rubber band so that the back of the buckle is exposed, and there's a slot in the back of the buckle. There's also a notch on the buckle. What I'm going to do is take one of the cards with the blank side, and I'm going to butt it up against the edge of the slot, and then I'm going to make a mark with a pencil or a pen right at the edge of the other side of the slot. So I've got the first mark. Now I'll slide the card, keeping it in the slot, which will allow me to make another mark right there at the other end of the slot. So I've got my two marks. Now what I'm going to do is draw a line across. I'll just use one of the cards as a ruler, and I'll draw the line. So what I have now is a line drawn across with a strip that should fit in the slot when I cut it. So I'm going to go ahead and cut it, and I'll actually cut slightly above the line. So here I've got the thin strip, and then I want to make sure that it does fit in the slot. So I'll put it in the slot, and this one needs to be trimmed slightly more to fit in the slot. So I'm just going to trim a thin piece off the edge. Here we go. And now let's see if it fits. Yes, and it fits nicely in the slot. So the next thing to do is to put the strip in the slot just a little bit over the rubber band, completely covering the opening in the buckle, and then draw another mark towards the end of the buckle. Now I just cut with the scissors, and I have a strip that should fit in the slot and cover the opening in the buckle. So I'm going to test it. Yes, it works well, and I can trim it if necessary. Now what I'll do is I'll tape the card to the buckle. So I'm going to take a thin strip of tape, a thin strip, and on one side of the notch, I'm going to just go all the way across the buckle and the piece of card, and I'm going to press it down, and then I'll do that again with another thin strip on the other side of the notch, and I'll just stick it down, press it down. Now I've got it taped down, and the two pieces of tape are on either side of the notch. Now I'm going to fold the band around again, which will allow me to trim the edges of the tape flush to the buckle. So I've trimmed that side. Now I'll trim this side flush to the buckle, and here I've got my buckle with the piece of card. Now, you may have your favorite force, but in my opinion, the best force to use for this routine is the cut force. For example, let's say that I want to force the two of hearts. I just start with the card on top of the deck. Now I can shuffle the cards as long as I keep it on top, and then I can ask the spectator to cut the cards. They'll cut the cards, and then I place the other half crisscross like that. Then later, when I show the card they cut to, I lift this off and show the 2 of hearts. That's the cut force. Here's how you prepare for the invisible prediction effect. The force card, in this case the 2 of hearts, is on top of the deck. And now I'm going to write down the force card near the top of the card, like this, 2 of hearts. And then I'm going to draw a line in the center. I'll line these cards up because this line will be hidden under the buckle. So I've lined it up and I make a line. And here's what it looks like. Now I'll slide this onto the stack. And as I slide it in, I hold the rubber band, put my fingers against the rubber band so that the band and the buckle stay in place while I slide this in. Notice how the line is hidden behind the buckle and the 2 of hearts is visible. Now I'm going to take my half card and cover the 2 of hearts. So here now I've got what looks like a stack of blank cards. So I ask the spectator to initial or mark the card right here. And I hold the stack of cards down and they make a mark. They can initial it or make any mark they want. And then I say, I'm going to make an invisible prediction right here. And with the cap on the pen, I pretend to write, but they can't see anything because it's invisible. And I say, and to separate my invisible prediction from your mark, I'm going to draw a line right in the center. There we go. Now they think this is very strange, but what I'll do next is I'll slide the card out and set it down. And now I'll ask the spectator to cut the cards. You can cut like this or you can cut deep, however you want to cut. So they'll cut the cards and I'll crisscross and mark the cut. Now I'm going to talk a little bit because you want to use some time misdirection with the cut force. I'll reiterate that they made a mark on the card. I made an invisible prediction and they cut the cards wherever they wanted. Let's take a look at the card that you cut to. It's the 2 of hearts. Now, remember my invisible prediction? It has become visible, and here we have it, the 2 of hearts. My favorite version of the invisible prediction routine uses the double prediction feature. And in this version, I'm going to predict 2 cards. Not only the force card on top, the 2 of hearts, but also the bottom card will be the second force card, in this case the 4 of clubs. So what I'm going to do to prepare is I'm going to write down the card on the bottom, 4 of clubs. Then the top card, the 2 of hearts, I'm going to write that so that it's hidden under the buckle. So I line the cards up and make a 2 and a heart. Okay. And I'll let that ink dry a little bit. And now I'll slide the card on top of the stack. And I keep my fingers against the rubber band so that when I slide it in, the band stays put. Slide that in and do a little adjustment here. Here we go. And now the 2 of hearts is hidden beneath the buckle. The 4 of clubs is visible, and I'll finish by covering the 4 of clubs with the half cards. So there I've got what looks like the blank stack of cards. Now the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to box the deck. So I'll box the deck like this, with the back of the deck facing up as I slide it in. And now I'm ready to do the routine. So it's similar to before, where I ask the spectator to mark the card and they make the mark. Then I tell them I'm going to write an invisible prediction. And so I pretend to write the invisible prediction. By the way, you can use either the pen cap or you can use your finger and pretend to write. That's also a very nice variation. And they think this is strange because they don't see the prediction. Now, like before, actually this time what I'll do is I'm going to steal off the half card. So when I turn, then pick up the deck and cover the half card with the box, then take out the deck and set the box down over the edge of the table with the half card under the box. Now, like before, I allow them to cut the cards, so they cut, I crisscross, and I explain to them that they marked a card, I wrote my invisible prediction. Let's see the card that they cut to. Oh, it's the 4 of clubs. Now remember my invisible prediction? Well, now it's visible, and there you can see I've predicted the 4 of clubs. So there's the first prediction. Now what I do is I slide this out, set it down, and I say, but when you cut the card, you actually cut to 2 cards. You cut to the 4 of clubs, but you also cut to this card, the 2 of hearts. Watch this. When I turn it over, I've predicted both cards. Another thing I like to do is to make the writing on the prediction look more mysterious by using stippling. Stippling is where you use dots. So I'm going to make a 4. I'll just do kind of a rough outline of a 4. And then I'll keep adding dots until I get the look that I like. There I've got the 4, and then I'll do the same thing here with the club. I'll do the outline of the C, then I'll add more dots until I get the mysterious look that I like. Well, that's it. I hope you enjoy this product, and this is just a sampling of the many possibilities. Please enjoy.